Hello and welcome to another Chit Chat with Lorley. So today I want to talk about something that I'm observing a lot in society, and I'm sure just about everybody else is seeing it. And maybe it's not something that you're able to really articulate, so I wanted to just kind of give a couple of ideas and let that percolate for you. So I'm going to start off with what I call the old world view and the new world view. So the old world is what we've been living in and have become very familiar with, including its familiar misery. And that is where you have been taught, we've all been taught, that you go to school, you go to college, you get a degree so that you can get a job in some corporation somewhere, live out the rest of your life, and you're going to have a nice little retirement and pension and paid vacations and 401ks and insurance paid for and all that lovely stuff. Well, we know that's not working, and it has not been working for a very long time. And it's pretty obvious that people are becoming literally sick and tired and stressed out over it, trying to live that life. And yet I'm wondering how many of us, of you, really stop to think about, this really isn't working, but I don't know what else to do. And because it seems really overwhelming, I'm just going to put that question on the shelf because it's too much for me to think about, and I'll just dig in my feet even further and keep on going and going, even though it's stressing me to death and making me all miserable and overweight and on and on. So another thing with that old worldview that it's founded upon the mindset of competition and separation, that there has to be a king of the hill and everybody else has to climb over everybody else in order to get there. When you look at the basic structure of a corporation, it's exactly that. It's a pyramid where you've got one or two people at the top, the CEO, the first, second people under them. They've got the board of directors, and you've got this slew of mid-management, then you have all the worker bees. That's a corporate, or that structure is a pyramidal shape. And in order for you to climb up higher in the pyramid, not only are there less positions available for anyone to do so, it requires a lot of maneuvering, kiss ass, manipulation, politics, beating somebody else down, trying to look good, and all of that other stuff that goes along with the idea of competition, which is really only based in scarcity, that there's only so much to go around, there's only so many positions available. As the pyramid gets smaller and smaller, the higher up on it that you go. So that's what we've been living under, and it clearly does not work. What we're seeing instead is pensions disappearing. The health insurance premiums are obscene. Nobody can afford to pay them. Employers don't want to pay them, so they don't hire people for full time. They don't offer benefits. The litany of laundry list goes on and on. People are stressed out. They're sick. They're working more and more hours a week for the same base salary or just to get by. And it's killing everybody. It's probably killing you too, if you really stop and look at it. So I'm asking you, isn't it about time to rethink this whole approach to life and living? Have you had enough misery and enough sickness and enough stress to say enough is enough? It's time to figure out something else. To look beyond the wall of fear and overwhelm, to say, oh my God, what would I do? This is all I know, literally. What would I do? What else would I structure my life? And if I did that, what would have to change? All of these things in these relationships, in this social structure that has become my life, I'm so invested in that for me to pull the plug, everything would come crashing down. That's a lot to consider, and I get that. And I'm also going to say, if that is not a reflection of your true expression of yourself, if it's not true for you anymore, if you find yourself having to live a lie in order to keep that structure going, there's really something there that needs to be looked at. And ultimately, if you're living a lie just to keep that social structure and that facade and that looking good going, and to keep those relationships going that you know are not good for you, that are sucking the life out of you, ultimately that's going to come crashing down around you anyway, in and of its own accord. So you are far better off facing it, looking at it, asking yourself the hard questions, and going to figure out what would be your plan to shift your life around to make it more happy and fulfilling for you, knowing that there will be some shifts and changes, and ultimately it will be for the better. But to stall and dig your feet into the sand and wait until that thing comes crashing down around you will make it far worse and more uncomfortable for you. So I would encourage you just to really be able to sit back and look at that and question yourself, what would I want to have my life be like differently? What other things could I do for my career and my income generating activities that would actually allow me to have a life that has more balance, less stress, probably less of a commute. I know people who've had a 2-hour commute every day. That sucks up a huge amount of time. What could you do with that 2 to 3 hours a day, building a life that you love rather than sitting in traffic on the freeway? Is that really how you want to be spending your time? Perhaps it's time to start waking up and really asking yourself some hard questions of what would you want your life to look differently, so that you could spend the time with your loved ones, so that you could do those creative projects that you put on the shelf or that you've even sold out on long ago because you didn't think that you could do them because of all the heavy responsibilities of maintaining house and wife and family and kids and on and on and on. The way I see it, the way that this old world is crumbling, the pressures that it's putting on everyone, the fact that it's truly not working, and it's a clear signal and a clear sign, clear message to everyone that this has got to go. It's got to change. And the invitation is to step into the unknown, to create the new world, to create a new society, to create a new way of living, rethink your whole approach to living and income generating activities so that it actually works for you in a harmonious and balanced way, rather than sacrificing your health, your sanity, and your family relationships and all the other relationships that you love just so you can make a frickin' paycheck. That's a little out of balance to me. So that's the old world. Let me give you a couple of ideas of what I see the new world as being. It's based on a completely different economy that we are also seeing developing and expanding and rising up alongside the fall and crash of the old world that no longer works. So some of the things that hold the new world economy in place is cooperation, community, collaboration, conversation and communication, doing something that comes from your heart, that is a true expression of you, getting in touch with what your creativity and your gifts are that you can contribute and offer the world, and creating relationships of that, knowing that what you have to offer other people are looking for and find value in it and will thus pay you for it. Rather than putting the paycheck or the printed piece of paper before anything else, switch that around and put your contribution first, your relationship with other people first. Learn to trust or inspire trust for others in you first. And then from that base, build a following of people who love and are looking for what you have to offer. And from that stance, then you can create your own economy. You're more in control of it. And you also know, in the process of doing that, that you have the abilities to create whatever income stream you need or desire. That your worth is not dependent upon what employers tell you of what they want to pay you. Your worth is far much more greater than that because you're tapped into the innate worth and value of you as a human being and your creativity as a human being. And from that place, offer your contribution, your gifts to the world. That's a whole different mindset, different level of consciousness and energy of how to approach life than the old world that's killing everyone. In the new way of doing that, then you can structure your life and your income generating activities, integrate them together so that it's one cohesive, harmonious flow. So you have time to do your work stuff, you have time to take care of yourself personally, your personal self-care, maintain your house, have time for kids, for socializing, for family. It all works together in a much more balanced and sane flow. So I encourage you to start thinking about what would you want your life to look like if you could structure it in that way, according to the New World economy values of collaboration and cooperation instead of what you're currently living in. And so from that, you can start to develop a plan. So, do you have a plan? Do you want one? I have one. If you want to know what mine is or how I've come to structure mine, then leave a comment below and I'd be happy to share with you some ideas to help percolate your question generating things in your mind so that you can help you formulate your idea and vision for what you'd like to have. All right, so good luck with that, and I look forward to hearing your comments about what you find. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.